I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. This is an ASN Bay Area exclusive. Here at AT&T Park, right behind me, some flowers is here, right here, as the Giants, for the faithful, all the Giants fans and the entire Giants organization, still mourning the loss of Giants former CEO Peter Magowan, who passed away late on Sunday due to his long battle of illness. As Peter Magowan will be remembered, of course, of saving the Giants, who nearly all but intents and purposes were heading for Tampa, St. Petersburg following the 1992 season. Along with him and Larry Baer and a lot of the local investors, including Walter Shorenstein and the late Harmon Burns, helped keep the Giants here in San Francisco. Look back in retrospective, some 26 years ago when this was, Peter Magowan, who also was the CEO of Safeway and really put a great local investors group in. I remember as a 15-year-old when it looked pretty bad, and I faced the grim reality that the Giants could be relocating after the season, and it was just a lot was going on for the Giants organization. Bob Lowry continuing to lose money after years and years of trying to get a new ballpark here in downtown San Francisco, here at China Basin, and then eventually, had a proposal in San Jose, which also was shot down, and Lowry at that point had no choice but to sell the team. And you look at it then and looking at it now, Lowry said he was going to sell the team to the Tampa group, led by Vincent Nomoli, and also another tidbit from that Tampa group, by that group who was going to buy the Giants and move them to Tampa, St. Petersburg. Mike Piazza's father, Vincent Piazza, was part of that group, was going to help move the Giants franchise to Tampa, Florida, which did not happen, as Peter Magowan and his group came and put up a proposal that they were going to keep the Giants, and then, of course, was voted on by the National League. Then interim acting commissioner Bud Selig, who replaced Fay Vincent, who resigned in a month earlier in the fall of September of 1982, with the announcement that I never forget that hearing the date that they said that the National League voted and disapproving the sale for the Giants for the move to Tampa, St. Petersburg. And that was the most important day for me, being a Giants fan, that we knew that the team would stay in San Francisco. And then not only that, then getting some bigger news when the Giants were going to sign Barry Bonds, who of course was the father of the late Bobby Bonds and the godfather of Willie Mays, and signed him as he was one of the highest paid players in Major League Baseball, who was coming off winning 2 National League MVPs in 3 years. And then the Giants also eventually would hire Dusty Baker on staff as the new manager, and Bobby Bonds as the hitting coach and first base coach for the Giants. And then we all remember the 1993 season when the Giants set a new franchise record for best record in franchise history with 103 wins. And unfortunately, things did not work out because the Giants missed out on the playoff, winning the division by 1 game over the Atlanta Braves, one of the last true pennant races. Well, and of course, under the old structure of the divisional alignment, the Giants was on the outside looking in, and I still say that was the greatest Giants team, San Francisco Giants team of all time, not to win a championship. But then, and of course, there was a magical year. Barry was going to win his first what would be 7 MVPs. His first as a San Francisco Giant, his 3rd MVP in the last 4 years. And Dusty Baker was named the National League's Manager of the Year. And then, of course, the Giants set a the all-time single season, all-time attendance record in a single season, drawn over 2.5 million fans, 2.6 to be exact, averaging close to nearly 35,000 a game. And look at some of the stats, though. Since in his tenure with San Francisco as the CEO of the San Francisco Giants, Peter Magowan, his record in 16 seasons compiled with the Giants compiled 1,400 wins to 1,110 losses. That is the third best record, or the fifth best record in Major League Baseball, and the third best record in the National League since 1993. And in that time, in that 16-year span, the Giants, in that 16 years, averaging 87 wins a season. Then, of course, 1997, after two disappointing seasons in 95 and 96, back-to-back last place finishes, the Giants, more importantly, in 1996, the Giants brass proposed of a brand new ballpark, public or privately financed. And I remember as a young 19-year-old, just like a year out of high school, they were able to get that passed by the city in a landslide, and it was not even close to build this ballpark here behind me, then known as AT&T. Now it's going to be home of Oracle Park. And then, of course, they got that measure passed, and was very important. Knowing that the Giants were going to be here as the San Francisco Giants forever. And then, 1997 came, and was one of the big turning points. Was the Giants were able to win their first division title since 1989. They would go on to win 90 games. They would finish first place that year. Dusty Baker won his second National League Manager of the Year award. They would get swept by the eventual Florida Marlins in the National League Division Series, which would be the final postseason game for Giants baseball at Candlestick Park, not 3Com Park, of course. The Giants, that year, of course, yours truly was there at that game. And then that began the run of success the Giants would have from the late 90s until the ballpark through to the time AT&T Park opened, now Oracle Park opened, originally then known as Pacific Bell Park, opened in 2000. In the 8 years there, under his tenure, the Giants, between 97 through 01, have finished at least first or second 8 straight years that they either finished first or second in the National League West. They made the postseason four times in those 8-year spans, in 97, 2000, 2002, and 2003. They made the postseason 5 times in those 8 years, or 4 times in that time period. They averaged more than 92 wins in the first 5 years that AT&T, now Oracle Park, was open. Between 2000 and 2004, they averaged 94 wins. And during the run that the Giants had from 97 through 2004, with Barry Bonds winning another MVP and Jeff Kent winning one in 2000, the Giants would go on to average 94 wins a season. Between they end up finishing finishing first or second 10 times in the 16 years that Peter Magowan was the CEO, managing general partner, main owner of the San Francisco Giants. And then Magowan would step down as CEO like he did more than a decade ago, and it was Larry Baer and the groundwork while the team was rebuilding. This also, of course, led to the 3 World Series titles in this decade. But I like to send my gratitude to Peter Magowan and the Giants for really being a passionate man. I got a chance to meet him when I was a young 19-year-old when we were going out, passing out the Yes on B campaign as a young 19-year-old, working with a lot of the staff for the Jack Davis campaign downtown here in the city. And I look at this place before AT&T Park. It was this concrete. It was like a desert. It was almost like a ghost town of all the warehouses and it was just on the warehouses, and it was just nothing. But when this ballpark opened, now you've seen there's here in the south, the market has upgraded in recent times, and from abandoned warehouses where people rent out those old warehouses here in China Basin for crazy rave parties and did some, to now having the #1 best ballpark in Major League Baseball. Peter Magowan, thank you very much for keeping baseball here in San Francisco. Your contributions to the game and your time and passion putting baseball here to the best facility in baseball, you will never be forgotten. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. This has been an Arena Sportsnet Bay Area special exclusive, a tribute to Peter Magowan for the Arena Sportsnet Bay Area.